Hello and welcome to another video. This is our first in a new series that I'm calling Mental Mondays. Today we're going to be talking about mindset, having direction, and accomplishing our goals. So, what does it mean to have direction? Most of the times in the video game settings, when we're playing games, our direction generally is focused on having fun for the most part. Now, when you come down to competitive games like, 3v3 Arena or different MOBAs and stuff like that, sure, a lot of us are playing for fun, but there's a competitive aspect to it as well, and we value our self-development as players. It's a good feeling when you feel like you're improving at a subject or a game, and we're going to talk about how to get in the mindset of somebody who is striving to improve. Because sometimes, a lot of us feel like we just don't necessarily have the resources. Like, that's why I've been making the add-ons and macro, guides talking about how to have the actual hardware, I guess, everything set up properly so that you can perform well. This is completely independent of that. This is mostly how do you utilize that information and how are you applying it and what kind of mindset are you in when you're playing a game. So most of the times when we're playing games, we're playing them for fun, but there's also a competitive serious aspect to it. And when we start getting into the competitive serious aspect of things, that's when we can really kind of get down on ourselves, I feel. We're like, oh, well, we've been trying for so long and we're not really getting any better, so why try to improve? Well, one of the main reasons why we should try to improve is because it's honestly just more fun when you perform well, but it's less fun when you are aware of your shortcomings. So when you're aware that you have all these issues and you're not playing very well in certain areas, and you're aware of it, it's not very fun. But if you just kind of go around head in the clouds having fun and enjoying yourself, then obviously you're fine. But you're kind of ignoring your weaknesses and you're not really growing at all as a player. And for me personally, when it comes to competitive games, having no growth at all just is not fun in any way, shape, or form. So we're going to talk about how to go about having growth in a competitive game. So the first thing we need to do is try. If you're not trying to improve, you're not going to notice your shortcomings and you're just this is going to fly over the radar for you, I guess. But so when you're trying to improve, you're going to fail a lot. That's part of the experience. Like, every single mistake that you make can be viewed in one of two ways, right? You can play victim and say, oh, well, I am this bad and I play this way and this is just who I am. Or you can say, I am this person, I have these weaknesses, and these are opportunities for me to grow and improve. Being able to pinpoint your weaknesses and being aware of them, and then actively trying to improve on each area that you suck at, is pretty much the only way to improve at doing anything. There's way too much to bite off and chew all at once when it comes to developing yourself as a player. So you need to be able to find the areas that you suck at and find those weaknesses and then work on them. But what happens is a lot of people, when they recognize their weaknesses, they go, again, one of two ways. They can complain about it and just say like, oh, I really suck at this and, that's rather unfortunate, but I'm just intrinsically bad and there's no way that I can improve. I feel like that's like a reoccurring theme that people actually have with how they deal with things in their lives, not just in video games even. Like, they'll say, oh, this tragic thing happened to me and it left this mark on me and now this is who I am, Instead of actively trying to overcome that negative thing that's happened to them, they just wear their negative things as a badge to excuse themselves from any true development. So rule number one when it comes to self-development is stop putting yourself down and being a little bitch about things. You really just need to accept your flaws and your weaknesses and, embrace them. Because if you don't embrace your flaws or weaknesses, you're never going to accept them and therefore you're never going to strive to improve them. So rule number one is accept your weaknesses as part of who you are. It's very simple. Now, these weaknesses aren't a bad thing by any means. In fact, I feel every single weakness is a really good opportunity for growth, which we should be focusing on. We should be blessed to know, yes, I am this bad at this. And it's like, video games is a really good training ground for that, really, because it's not important. You can get in the mindset of analyzing your own performance in a certain area and break it down and break it down and break it down until you find all of the areas that you're lacking in and then improve. You can apply that to any area of your life. It's just super easier to do in a video game setting because there's no pressure. It's a fun pastime, right? But the beautiful thing about competitive games is we can take that fun little pastime and use it as a training ground for self-development and improvement. So we've pinpointed our flaws and our weaknesses, or as I like to call them, our opportunities to improve. So now that's going to help us with our goal and our direction, because now we're not trying to become better players. We're not trying to be the best. We're trying to be one step better than we were the last time that we played. It makes it a lot easier and less overwhelming when you think about it, because now you're able to sit down and instead of looking at yourself and saying, well, oh, I've only gotten 1700 and I've never gotten higher rating than that, let's just say. Oh, I'm a bad player. Well, no, you're not saying that anymore. You're saying, yeah, I've only got 1700 and my keybinds are really bad and I haven't really ever used macros, so I'm going to work on my keybinds and my macros and being able to control my character better, and maybe that will help me improve. And then once you've, kind of got that down pat and you're moving your character around better and you're making good use of macros and stuff like that, then you're able to move into something like, okay, my game knowledge is really bad. I'm having a real hard time dealing with this certain team composition, or I'm not utilizing my offensive cooldowns well. People are getting away from me, or I'm getting crowd controlled through them. You need to be able to sit down and break down your gameplay and have your goals orientated towards improving your weaknesses, overcoming those opportunities, or making the best of those opportunities, sorry. So your goal and your direction stops being, I want to be a really good player, and it becomes, I am a player with weaknesses that I'm trying to overcome. The ability to eliminate those flaws, and once you do so, the feeling of competence that you get will be a huge booster, because you're actually successfully overcoming a goal, right? Like if we didn't have any direction or goals and we were just trying to get better, it's too broad of a term. We'll never get that feeling of competence or accomplishment, because there's so many different areas that we can grow, and we're always going to be able to find things about ourselves in the field of the gameplay that is lacking. We're always going to find areas of our gameplay that's lacking. And we can focus on those and say, look how bad we are. Or we can focus on those areas and say, look at these opportunities that I have to improve. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and give this a listen to see if it sounds reasonable. And if it is, this is probably going to be the end of the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you're looking forward to more of these just chit-chat videos, because I'm really enjoying trying to branch out into other kind of content, because at the end of the day, just World of Warcraft is getting a little bit old to me. But I feel like this kind of video right here, this kind of subject would be something that we could branch off out into all sorts of fields, because this is the kind of stuff that I really like to do, is just talk shop, man. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys, and if you guys could do me one very important favor, let's have a fantastic day. Don't be too hard on yourself, but be honest with yourself about your flaws and your weaknesses, because those are opportunities for you to become an Ubermensch. Take care.